Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast and episode number 9 of our weekly series with Scott Battas from Mascoutah High School on how you can create a great student athlete leadership program at your school. We're going to be right back with Scott, but first, we want to give a shout out to our regular sponsors. Now, you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to do it again. These are all great companies. And yeah, they're sponsors, but I used them, and so should you. So take 3 minutes, listen to these shout outs, then listen to Scott's latest episode. Then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to start off by saying thanks to Huddle. You know, as a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, I'm telling you, all of our coaches, they just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes love the videos, and our parents love the streaming, but there's a whole lot more. Go to huddle.com, join the millions of users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. You've heard me say many times, probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys. At my school, we use surveys for everything, for our student athletes, our coaches, our parents, and the information that came back, extremely valuable. The surveys also connected us with our squeaky wheel parents, and it allowed us to hear their concerns, usually address them before they turned into something big. But going back to that data, so very valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, sometimes your principal, sometimes even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey just for you. That's athleticsurveys.com. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every day. Scheduling, rosters, results, communication, facility management, eligibility, and it does all of these things and more. And Home Campus does it better and faster than the other platforms. Go to homecampus.com to get started. And for all of our sponsors, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Now, Vital Signs has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade with their video boards, but now they have a content creation service, Beacon Creative, that takes it to a whole new level. Their talented team of writers is going to come up with compelling narratives that you can then post on your school's social media, maybe on Vital Signs video board. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com, click on Content Services. You're going to be very glad you did. We also want to talk and say thank you about Hometown. Hometown's suite of solutions includes things like, well, they're the #1 digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges, but how about fee-free fundraising with School Funder, athletic website construction? The Hometown menu goes on and on. Whether you're an athletic director, a coach, even a principal, Hometown's going to show you how to save time. They're going to show you how to raise more money, and they're going to show you how to bring your entire community together. You'll find it all at hometown.com. Speaking of #1, Booster Hub is the #1 booster club software application. And if you help your boosters with volunteer signups, you know that volunteer changes are just around the corner. Well, with Booster Hub, nothing falls through the cracks. Everybody stays connected and engaged. The same thing is true with concession sales and sponsorship fees. Booster Hub does it all. Go to boosterhub.com. Sign up for the #1 Booster Club software package. Boosterhub.com. Also, speaking about #1, how about Ohio University? If you're looking for an online master's in athletic administration, look no more. Ohio University's has a national reputation. As I mentioned, it's rated at the top of the field. Their graduates rave about the experience, the cohort, and the fact that while they're earning their degree, they also complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge so they can sit for the CAA exam when they're done. Go to Ohio University and take a look at their online masters in athletic administration. And wrapping up our list of number ones, how about Gipper? Gipper is the modern marketing platform that makes it easy for any athletic department to look their best. It's used and trusted by over 20,000 athletic programs at the high school and college level, and they're rated number one for athletic marketing, in part because of the thousands of professionally designed templates that you can customize in your colors, your brands, your logo. Create, share, and schedule all your social media content in one simple platform, and that platform is Gipper. Go to Gipper.com to get started, and every time you visit one of our sponsors, make sure you mention you heard about it on the Educational AD podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD and our weekly series featuring Scott Battas from Muscuda High School. If you're new, you got a treat coming your way. Also, we encourage you to go back and listen to the previous episodes. Scott is a certified master athletic administrator. He's very active at the state and the national level. And again, this is episode number 9 on his series on how you can create a winning student-athlete leadership program at your school. So, Scott, I'm going to get out of the way. What do you have for our listeners on this segment of the Educational AD podcast?
Yeah, well, thanks once again, Jake, for having me. It's really been a pleasure to be able to talk about some of the things we do here, not only at Muscuda, but there's other athletic directors in this same space doing some great things as far as leadership grows. And I'll always think collaboration is the key to having successful anything, but especially when you talk about doing things like putting together leadership programs or establishing culture in your schools or your programs. And I thought, after talking about some of the mentality that it requires, old school versus new school, and all of these different ways to establish the culture we're speaking of, I thought I would transition into something that I think is very paramount in our profession and probably something that's not given enough of an opportunity as maybe it deserves. And that is, I think that with our platform as an athletic director, that you have the ability to become one of the most, if not the most influential person in your community. And so I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that because I can tie it to how it relates to our leadership program directly and how we touch on these things that allow us to establish our culture, not only within the walls of our building and certainly, within the lines of our fields and courts, but expanding into the community, at the local McDonald's, at the library in town, at the swimming pool over the summer. These are all of our kids, and this is our community. And what can we do as an athletic department to put our footprint on how other people perceive and see our community? And I think it's very important. And I think that in our profession, we have the ability to be the engineer, if you will, of that train and drive that thing in the right direction. So, I think if your culture's working, if the standards you believe in and the culture that you've set up within your kids and your programs is working, you not only see that at all of your events, you see it all over the place in your community. Your events will kind of set the tone. I will tell everybody that will ask, and I think this holds true for many of you in this profession. We oftentimes get blamed for giving certain sports or events preferential treatment. Or you only care about certain programs, or you only care about certain kids or coaches. I understand that. I certainly can see how things can be perceived that way. The truth is every sport, every activity is completely different. But what I will say is one thing that we've tried to do is take events that we know are well attended and turn them into community events and opportunities for our culture to shine bright. You look at a football game on Friday night, whether we are having one of our really, really good seasons that we've had in the past or not. Our bleachers are full, but the band is there. The color guard is there. The cheer team is there. The dance team is there. There are other programs featured in other ways. We like to give recognition to programs for accomplishing extraordinary things at our games where they're well attended. So I think what we've been able to do, have fireworks shows after the game, brings community people in just for something like that. How are we showing our culture off, showing our kids off, and doing the things that really brings our community together? And I just feel like if we have a platform to do that, we have people leaving our venues going, wow, what a great night. What a great time seeing our community, people seeing people they don't see every day. And then obviously get the chance to see the different things that our kids do. We all oftentimes offer other schools in our district the opportunity to have faculty nights at our football games, bringing them not only into our environment, but being able to share with their families everything that our school district and our culture has to offer. One thing that I'll say that really falls on our shoulders as an athletic director is it is our job to tell our story better than anybody else tells theirs. And that's how, in my opinion, you create separation between what you're doing and everybody else. When people find you on social media, when they see what your school is doing, your story is being told in detail in ways that have other school districts, parents, and kids going, why don't we do this here? And I think that's really given us an advantage. It's really made our culture kind of, trickle out into waves. And I'll tell athletic directors when they ask, I'm not doing things here at Muscuda, and you shouldn't do things to show anyone else up or make a mockery of other programs. What you're doing is making every other program better that sees the things you're doing and feels like they can invigorate or put some energy into their programs. So I truly believe that influence truly starts long before student athletes ever step foot on your campus. Kids growing up in your community, like my own kids, can't wait to be Indians. Our Little League select program in town is called Team Muscuda. We don't call them Indians just yet. They got to earn that when they get here, but it's their dream to be here. We just had a young man win the College World Series for the University of Oklahoma, the starting left fielder, Brendan Brock. And what's great about Brendan is he came up through our Little League program. He played Little League sports wearing the Team Muscuda logo. He didn't go out, and he talked to our kids about that today. He didn't go out and his parents didn't go out and try to find a place to pay more money and get more opportunity. He saw the opportunity right here because of the culture and the things that we brought to the table. They could have that same experience. And here he was on the national stage, one of the best players in the College World Series, and he's ready for the draft here on Saturday, as he'll forego his last year. And that kid was built right here in town. And there's so many of those stories that I think are important. But ultimately, what are we going to leave as far as culture? What will our legacy be? Well, it should be it needs to be as impactful as it can. But the trophies and the championships and the accolades should just be the footnotes of a powerful story that you continue to write throughout your career, using your campus and your district as kind of just the engine that plows through everything that's possible. And I would ask you, how can you make your school district the one of choice? And how can you help make your community the community of choice by the things you do in your job with your opportunities? And I feel like there's one real solid way to do that. Put it all on you. And I have no problem at all saying the responsibility of the culture of this community falls on me and me alone. And I feel like if you challenge yourself in that regard, the sky is the limit, and the possibilities are limitless for what you can do as far as establishing culture in your school and giving your place and your Friday nights and your Saturday nights and your even Wednesday evening atmospheres just become they become the trademark, the signature of what you are, and everyone can see it. So, establish something that people want to come to, be a part of, and then talk about outside of your walls. And that can really help kind of just give you all that extra kind of energy you need to continue building on something that you've already established here for the people that you kind of claim as your own.
Boy, he's another master class. And again, you and I have talked about this so many times. There's not that many. There's a few, I think, original ideas out there. Usually it's a great idea that we saw at another school and we stole, borrowed, or made our own. You certainly did this and shared it on this podcast with your outdoor volleyball game that was just a tremendous event for you. And a lot of people would say, we could never do that. Well, you shared how you did it and how they can do it too. And again, it's up to that individual AD to get that motivation and decide, hey, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we like to do some eccentric things here. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we have the fire and we have the smoke and we have the fireworks and we have the outdoor volleyball games. We're going to wrestle, hopefully this fall out on the new baseball stadium under that grandstand under the lights. I mean, we try to do things that other people aren't doing. Again, give our kids opportunities. One thing you got to understand as a high school athletic director, I think it's important that many of our kids won't go on and play college sports, and if they do, they may be at smaller schools that don't even get the same type of environment or atmosphere that you have at your own high school. But for those that do not get the opportunity to go on and experience those elite atmospheres, we want them to be able to say, look, when I was in high school, they did everything they could to give us the best environment they possibly can, and really take that pride with them. And have those experiences that they talk about for a long time. We like to provide those here for them because we can. And I think, expanding your mind a little bit, trying to think outside the box, doing things that maybe, what's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work. I always am a big believer in taking risks and, and doing things big. And certainly we've made mistakes. We've done some things that haven't worked, but that's how you learn. That's how you get better. And, that's how you continue to kind of establish that culture and give your whole community something they take a lot of pride in. And I do think that holds true here.
Well, and again, it is possible to do both. You talked earlier about the success of the program and kids going on to college and that sort of thing. One of your graduates is in the College World Series. Tremendous. But the majority of our kids aren't going to get that experience. And so, hey, let's make sure they have a great experience while they're with us at the high school level. Let's not, sacrifice the 94% for the sake of the 6%. You can have both. Very cool stuff. Scott, always a pleasure to spend some time with you. Thanks again for taking part of your busy summer to share with our listeners. If one of them wants to reach out and pick your brain just a little bit more, they just can't wait for next week, what's the best way that our listeners can connect with Scott Battas?
Yeah, reach out to me. Email is the best way. My last name with an extra S, BATTASS at msd19.org. Glad to hear from all of you, and anybody that has any questions, comments, or anything that we could chat about in this arena. I'm open to, so feel free to reach out.
Well, again, thanks again for sharing. For our listeners, thanks for tuning in. And just a reminder, we upload these episodes to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. And spoiler alert, these segments are all going to come together as a book. It'll be coming out, later this fall. We'll have more on that as that date approaches. But keep tuning in to the Educational AD Podcast, and we will see you next week for another episode with Scott Battas. Thanks again. Well, great stuff again. Always a great time with Scott Battas. It's always a great time with our sponsors, too. If you're not using one of these, please reach out. Find out what they can do for you. Let's go and thank them real quick. Booster Hub. You'll find them at boosterhub.com. Home Campus. Go to homecampus.com. Athletic Surveys. You'll find them at athleticsurveys.com. Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Sideline Interactive. sidelineinteractive.com. Hometown. How about hometown.com? Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. And then we've got Gipper. Go to gipper.com. And then Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Thanks again for listening. Make sure you come back for another episode of the Educational AD Podcast.